Welcome to the Write Your Own Story podcast. I'm your host, Betsy Leonidas, and the founder of the Write Your Own Story company. Girl, I can tell you right now, you are definitely enough. Here we value service, sisterhood, connection, laughter, and that super genuine, keep it real, tell you like it is honesty. My hope is at the end of each episode, you realize you can do whatever it is you dream about and that you are not alone with what you struggle with. I'm hoping that you are snapping and clapping and hell yes in your way through each one of these episodes. So if this tracks with you, let's get started. I'm so glad you're here. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the latest episode of the Write Your Own Story podcast. I am your host, Betsy Leonidas, and I am so pleased to be here with a friend, a business partner, Taylor Elliott. Taylor, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. I am so excited to talk with you today.
We are going to have so much fun. Okay, before we dive in, let me just read a brief intro because I want us all to ground in who is the great Taylor Elliott. Taylor Elliott is the owner of Taylor Elliott Designs, and she creates motivational and fun-to-use gifts and desk accessories adorned with upbeat messages, bright pops of color, and plenty of sparkle. What started as a labor of love, born out of a guest bedroom in her home, has blossomed into an award-winning brand sold in over 700 retailers nationwide, including major chains and independent stores alike. Today, Taylor serves as founder and creative director of Taylor Elliott Designs, a desk accessory and gift company. Taylor has been featured in People magazine and on Good Morning America. In 2019, she was also recognized in Stationery Trends and Gift Shop magazine's 40 Under 40 award. Taylor is thrilled to share her passions for great design through pens, notepads, notebooks, planners, pouches, and other cool accessories adorned with upbeat messages, pops of color, and plenty of sparkle. So I literally am obsessed with your products. And the way we know each other is that I used to carry your line for Elizabeth and Kind, the gift shop that my e-commerce retail shop that I had. And you were absolutely one of my favorite brands to carry. I'm obsessed with your stuff. And it always sold like gangbusters.
You're a regular customer.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
2020, 2021.
Yes. And it was like, I started that business literally, like I started developing it at the end of 2019 and kicked it off right as the pandemic was happening. And I was like, oh my God, thank God it was an e-commerce business. But what I loved is during that time, everyone wanted to make people feel better. So gift giving, I found, just exploded. And with your like bright, beautiful, intentional, like with these great message designs, not only did they sell because they're great and wonderful, but at that time, people needed those reminders to just be happy, choose good things, etc. And like, it was just this beautiful magic and I loved it.
Oh, I love that. And especially when so many people were working from home at that time too, they wanted a little desk refresh or just a little, a pen that says shine bright. That's my pen I'm using right now that says shine bright.
I love
it. Just a little motivational reminder.
Yep, absolutely. And I am all about that. Like even in corporate world, when I worked at corporate, like I always was the girl with like not the black moleskin notebook at the corporate, table, or like my desk was always like sparkled out. So I was like, when I found you in the wholesale world, I was like, she is my people. Oh, it's so great. Okay, so can you kick us off and just tell us a little bit about your business journey? Because I love this notion. Actually, before we do, I got so excited to talk about how we know each other. But what I always like to kick off each episode with, really, before we turn this over, is to talk about what is really the promise or the intention of the episode that holds us accountable, that lets the reader or the listener know where we're headed. I love that this was born out of your guest bedroom. And as we had talked about off camera, there are so many women out there who have this sort of dream or passion that's brewing behind them. And so really this is all about inspiring the creator in all of us, which I think is so important. No matter who you are and what you do, we're all creative in some way, shape, or form. And like you have really tapped into that. And I think this will be so inspiring to those who have that dream on their heart. Will you just kick us off? Tell us about your business journey. Take us to the guest room.
Okay. Yes. The guest bedroom. So I had just graduated college from the University of Oklahoma. I have a bachelor's degree in fine arts with an emphasis on visual communications. Visual communications it's a fancy word for graphic design. So I do actually use my major every day. So thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, right? That's amazing.
Yeah. So I I've always been creative. I've always, like when I was little, my mom would just like let me go to town with paint and glitter and
Bless her.
stencils. And yeah, I always just loved being creative. So when it was time to pick a major, it was a little bit hard to figure out what I wanted to do. And I excelled in all of the art classes. And so, I felt like graphic design was still creative, but also there was a path for a job after college. And so I pursued that, and I think that's one of the beginning places of my journey. My senior year in college, I started working with my parents. My parents own a small pharmacy in rural Oklahoma, just
Aw.
about 20 minutes from where I went to college. And so I was helping my mom. So it's a pharmacy that also has a gift shop in it. And so I started actually going to market with my mom when I was really young to help her pick out gift items. And even at like 11 years old, she was asking my opinion, like, do you like this color or do you like this color? And so she really valued my input at a young age. To really make me feel like I was helping merchandise the store. And so fast forward to my senior year in college, I was helping do the ordering and the merchandising. And the way that the gift industry works is sales reps will come and visit stores, and they're selling a particular brand or a particular product, and so they bring in these catalogs and you're looking, and it's kind of like you're shopping, but you're
Yeah.
buying for the store. And I remember being very fascinated with the products on the pages, like, and and the particular page I was looking at, I will never forget it because there was a picture of the designer of the products that I was ordering. And I was very fascinated with, like, okay, here's the designer. Like, how did she create these products? And then how did she get them made? And then now the salesperson is selling me these products for me to put in our family store. So I was very intrigued with that process. And this was when I was 21 years old. And I thought to myself, like, what do you even call that job? So
Yeah.
I named it gift product designer. So, and I
Yeah.
still call myself now as gift product designer. And so, um, I fast forward a year or so later, I was working in the corporate world. I had a really, really great job. It wasn't very creative, but I don't regret that time whatsoever because I
Oh,
learned
yeah.
so many things.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
one night I decided to start an Etsy shop, and I had an inkjet printer from college. I had a laptop. I had the design skills, and I gave my business I gave myself a loan, a
Yeah.
$20 loan to buy paper, envelopes, and a shipping scale.
Did you say
And
$20 loan?
yes,
That's amazing.
the
I
$20
love that.
that shipping scale, I actually still have it like right over here. It was
Do
actually right
you?
back here before our video, and I moved it. Oh, and before
Thumbs up.
our, I know I apparently use thumbs up all the time because when I'm zooming with my team, that bubble pops up all the time.
And I
Like
never know how to make it stop. I don't know.
no,
I'm not
I
mad
don't
about a
know.
thumbs up.
But I still have that same shipping scale, and like my kids will play with it, and I'm like, don't break it. It's an
Don't
antique at
break
this
it.
point.
Right. It's vintage.
Um, yeah, it's vintage. But so I opened up an Etsy shop. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just trucked along and figured it out, and added some products. I think at the time Etsy recommended that you have 7 designs in your shop, and so I made sure I had my 7 designs, and I was selling personalized stationery. Birth announcement prints, Bible verse prints, mostly for nurseries or home
Uh-huh.
decor, because I could easily print those on my inkjet printer that I already had. And I remember it took about 3 weeks to get my first order. It wasn't overnight or anything, but I remember the success wasn't overnight. But I remember I was with my boyfriend, now husband, and I
Uh-huh.
got the notification on my phone that I got my first order, and I was very, very excited.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
Oh,
so I mean, it's crazy that I had this like this small little shelf of inventory, and it's grown a lot.
to say
It's
the
grown
least.
a lot. Yeah, but that's how I got started, and over the years, we've pivoted. and I was really interested in gift. And at the time that I started, I was carrying stationery, and so it was an occasion based item. If someone was having a baby, so I thought, how do I create product that a girlfriend would want to give to her friend for her birthday or Christmas, creating a more giftable type product. And
Yeah.
so then I found a really great manufacturer of pencils, and it really kicked off from there with pencils.
That's so strategic to be like, here you are. And also, okay, a couple of questions. In your corporate job, you're inkjet printing on the side through Etsy. Like, are you burning the midnight oil, or are orders like just kind of coming in, and like, are you able to balance? Like, what is that looking like?
So I wasn't married at the time. I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
kids at the time. And so I would come home after working all day at my corporate job, and I would fulfill orders and, organize my inventory, design new products. And we had a special schedule in the corporate world where, like, if you came in early and you left late, then you would get like Friday afternoons off or something, like a
Awesome.
flex schedule. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I told myself that every Friday afternoon I would dedicate to growing the business, whatever that meant. If it designing new products, like finding, better pricing on materials. And so every Friday afternoon I dedicated to growing the business. And then
I
of
love
course, like
that.
on the weekends, I would, package pencils and, place my orders and fulfill the orders that were coming in. So
Wild.
yeah, I'm a pretty strategic person, and
Yes.
I always am open to improvement and wanting to be the best version of myself. And so I like setting goals and plans. And, from the get go, I loved every bit of product design. And even now, I completely nerd out at the idea of like coming up with an idea in my head. I kind of sketch it out in my head, and then I sketch it out on paper, and then I get it onto the computer. And then once like I get a sample, I mean, I just love it. And then,
Yep.
we do a lot of primarily we do wholesaling. So when I can see that product on the shelves of stores, I mean, that entire process, I just geek out over. I love it.
I can't imagine going from the girl who is literally printing, in the afternoons around, after her corporate job, to walking into a retailer and seeing your designs on someone else's shelf. That has got to literally be mind blowing. Oh, it's so
So
amazing.
fun. I pray that I never lose that like I never get desensitized to that magic, and I
Yeah.
haven't yet. And I love taking my kids now into stores and
Yeah.
say, "Look at mommy's designs," and we take pictures next to them, and we get really excited, and that's super
That's so
special.
cute. When you started your business, were you thinking, I want this to replace my corporate gig? Or were you like, this job is great and I'm learning a lot, but I have this whole other thing that I just like, I need to tap into. I can't ignore this kind of thing.
No, I didn't. I didn't think of it as replacing the corporate job, but here I think where I was a little short-sighted is I don't think I believed in myself enough at the time. Like I had never really heard of a product designer. Or I just assumed that, you had to, have a super massive company in order to, make it your full-time job. So I
Yeah.
didn't quite see the path for it. I was just doing it as a hobby for fun. And
Yes.
it wasn't until I got married, that my husband was like, "Hey, like, if we're intentional about this, like, I think you could make something of this."
I
And I was
love
like,
that.
"Really? Really?" And so,
Good
and so
man.
he's really been like the numbers behind the business.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't work for a company.
Mm-hmm.
He has a job elsewhere, but he's been so wonderful in the financial side because I'm a creative through and through. Numbers are not my strongest skill set, even though
Same.
I'm trying to do better.
Same girl, same. I'm like, no one wants me to do their numbers. I can, but it's painful. I
Yeah.
am so grateful for you for saying out loud that, like, you didn't believe in yourself at the start and you didn't have the long term vision, because I talk to so many women all the time of where they'll come up and they'll sort of like in a whisper or like in line for coffee be like, I have this idea. And so many women don't do it. And I know it's because they don't have the long-term vision. And we all struggle with not believing in ourselves categorically. I think probably men and women alike. And I absolutely love that you were able to say that out loud so that other people can hear that and be like, you know what, that is my hang up too. And I think it's such a great example that you have someone like your husband in your life who can turn around and be like, actually, like, I see what you can't see in you. I say that to my friends all the time, or to my daughter too. I'm into my boys. I'm like, I wish you could see what I see in you and for you, because it is literally spectacular. And so maybe for those women who are out there who have this dream on their heart, who aren't doing it, like, think about what other people see in you. Think about those people who believe in you and talk to those people. Let them fuel you. I don't know. What do you think about that?
You know, I 100% agree with that. I will say that I looking back, I do believe that me not believing in myself, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's a blessing in disguise. And here's why. Hear me out here.
Ooh,
Is
yeah,
because
I'm here
I
for
didn't
it.
put so much pressure on myself to make
Oh,
it work.
I love
Like,
that.
I think I had put so much pressure on myself to be like, okay, I want to leave my corporate job and this has to work. I
Yeah.
mean, once I did end up leaving my corporate job, and we had determined that my business was making money, it was
Mm-hmm.
generating a profit. At
Yeah.
that point, I was like, okay, there is no option here to not fail. And we
Yeah.
had determined like orders are coming through, there's wholesale interest. So at that
Mm-hmm.
time, there was no option to fail. But in the very beginning, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. I was just having fun. And I think there's so many benefits to that because like the creative ideas were flowing. I didn't put any pressure or expectations on myself. It was just fun. And I think that a lot of creative ideas and great things come from just playing and having fun versus like putting
Yes.
pressure on yourself that this has to work.
That is such an amazing insight. If I get like, because I'm such a business person, but I'm on the strategy side of things too. So, like, when I think about my female founders business, for example, I'm just going to be real open and honest here. Like, sometimes because that is courses to sell, but I am obsessed with business and love talking business and love talking to women about business. And I get myself blocked all the time, whether it be showing up online or pressing publish on courses, because I still want it to work so badly because I believe in it so much. But if I just let go and have fun and be like, this isn't about winning or losing. And like, I fully am comfortable with failure, but God, those were the words that I needed to hear today. And I'm sure that those really landed, but what a beautiful insight. And thank you for being my life coach.
I love it. Yeah, no,
Women
I
supporting
mean,
women.
yes, no, I love it. I mean, I've talked to a lot of women who they seem to be in a time crunch. Like, okay, I want to leave my
Mm-hmm.
corporate job in the next
Yeah.
60 days. How do
Yeah.
I do in 60 days what you've done in 5 years? And I
You're like,
just,
you don't. Yeah.
that pressure is hard, because I've
Yeah.
really organically grown my business. I don't have investors,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I I've done it in a very organic way. Um, maybe I could have grown it quicker if I would have, done some
I
things differently, but I wanted full control over my business.
I think that is so beautiful. And I think that that is like, really like having that ownership is really what everyone wants. And it takes every business an average of 2 to 5 years to become profitable, no matter who you are. My dad started his own company. My brother took it over and has very much so made it his own. And I was talking to them about, just product and cost and et cetera. And they were like, you got to hang in there. They're like, and I've read and learned and listened and sat with and have lived it. This is not my first startup. And so I've lived it myself. Like those first 2 to 5 years, and tell me your thoughts on this, are where you get really good because you're so dedicated to what this passion of yours and it's not wholly profitable yet, that's where you learn the skills to really run and operate your business. And you sit in the suck sometimes and like you come out
Yeah.
such a better business person and so connected to your mission and your brand that once the profitability becomes the icing on the cake. I don't know, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, in those first few years, I
Mm-hmm.
think the name of the game, for me personally, was pivot. Like if something, I mean, I
Ooh,
was trying all different kinds of products
yeah.
and trying new things. I was remaining consistent. I was
Mm-hmm.
showing up, and but overall, I had passion, hard work, grit, and some strategy. I mean, I knew that I wanted to create giftable products that made people happy. Joy products is what I call
Mm-hmm.
it.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and so I knew that okay, I I had to show up every day, on social
Mm-hmm.
media. And one thing that is really important for me to share is that sometimes I felt like I was showing up to no one.
Yes, you're talking to yourself. Yes,
Yeah,
you're not
I
alone in
felt like
that. Yes.
I was posting a new product and
Mm-hmm.
it got 0 comments and 0 likes, and I'm like, "Is anyone seeing this? Does anyone
I know.
care?"
I know.
And those are the moments where it can feel like you wanna throw in the towel, but when you
Mm-hmm.
love something and it brings you joy and you have a skill for it, you just have to keep showing up. Like, I think that an ingredient in the secret sauce is not giving up. Like,
Oh,
that
I
might
love
be
that.
the secret sauce, is just
Yeah.
not giving up. And
I
just
love
it
that.
being persistent and but you also have to love whatever you're doing
Mm-hmm.
because, that the love and the passion is what's going to get you through the hard times, the burnout. And but those first few years, going back to pivoting, I was just trying a whole bunch of different products.
Yeah.
I tried
Yeah.
pencils, and pencils did really well, and we carry pencils in our shop
Mm-hmm.
still because I just love them. I'm a pencil and paper girl, and I love
Same girl,
them.
same. Yeah.
We were beginning to carry notepads and pens and then notebooks. And so everything that we've done has been very organic,
Yeah.
and then we started carrying some desk accessories like pen cups. And then, okay, well, you need something to put your pens and pencils in. So then we did pouches and,
Yep.
we started doing some keychains, some, for back to school. Well, you've got your pens and your pencils and your notebooks, but like a fun little keychain to go on your backpack would be
Mm-hmm.
cool.
My daughter still
Now we
has
do
hers of yours.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Now we
Mm-hmm.
do a lot of hair clips and accessories like that. We have gift bags, we have party wear. So we carry a lot of different items. We're really evolving into a lifestyle brand. But in the
Yeah.
beginning, I mean, we were just trying all different kind. I say we, I, it was just me at the time.
Yeah.
Trying all different kinds of things, and there, what you said, sitting in the sock. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
So
it
I love
sucks
that.
sometimes.
No, it does suck sometimes. Like, I mean, I even have sitting in the suck moments now.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's challenging and it's hard, but I do think those first few years are so character building, and they
Mm-hmm.
build your strength and your resilience. And if you have to be persistent, and if you can get on the other side of those first few years and build up your community and your customer base, it's just so wonderful. And I'm not going to say it's
Yep.
smooth sailing after that, but
Mm-hmm.
when you build up a customer base that loves your products, when you come out
Yeah.
with new products, they get excited, and you have a community that loves your products and supports you. And that's a beautiful thing.
It really is. And what I love about what you said about, and connecting back to the intention of really inspiring their creator in all of us, and what kept you going is that you really love to create these types of products. So as you're pivoting, it's also a creative exercise as well as a strategic exercise, of course. But I loved some of the things that we talked about off camera that I want to make sure that we bring in. It was really around this notion of protecting your creative time and your creative flow. And I bring that up now because I feel like in those early years, and especially now that your business is booming, like in those early years, it's so important to tap into that creative process because that's what you love. And now your business is booming. It's so important not to lose that time and energy. I don't know. Can you tell me, especially for someone who this is your business is about creating product, how, and knowing all the hats that business owners wear, how do you protect your time and why is that important to you?
That is such an important it's I'm so passionate about this topic because the backbone of my business is me creating designs that are, that are on brand for me, that are very thoughtful. I mean, we don't just chase trends and just
Love
produce
that.
random things.
Love that.
Everything that has my brand on it and logo on it is designed by my small team.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to serve a purpose. Is this motivating someone? Is this bringing joy to someone's birthday or celebration? Is
Mm.
this helping the gift giver confidently give a gift to their loved one? I mean, everything, there's intention behind everything. And so, okay, so I have to tell this story really quickly. The first time that I got creative burnout, I felt like my creativity, it was almost like my creativity was a dog that ran away from home. And I
Aw.
wondered, like, is it going to come back? Like,
Yeah.
oh no, like, I lost my creativity. Like, I just
Mm.
am not creative. I feel drained. Like, is it gone for good? Like, I was
Mm-hmm.
very concerned about this. Like, oh
Totally.
no,
Like
like,
that feeling of like losing that flow or like that joy that you were saying that's so important to creative. You're just like, it's, there's no gas in the tank.
yes, like my creativity left home, and is it going to
Mm.
return? I don't know the answer to that. And so this seems very counterintuitive, but I've learned when I am burned out, one of the things that I need to do is rest. And that means
Yes.
doing something fun that isn't work related.
I love
And
that.
I don't know how long for. It's different each time. But I felt pretty burnout about 2 weeks ago, and I told my right hand team member. I just said, hey, I'm going to take the rest of the week off. I am just feeling very burned out. Side note, I'm very grateful to have the freedom to do that.
Yeah. But
Is
still,
what,
that's beautiful.
yeah, yeah. But I went to a coffee shop, and um, I went and sat and just had coffee. Like, I just let myself be. We've talked about this off camera. I have a cut flower garden. I go
Mm-hmm.
outside and, deadhead the flowers and get them looking beautiful and just walk around. I go on a walk. I mean, there's so many different things that I do. Um, or like I'll go eat lunch and go
Yeah.
shopping. Like, just
Yes.
something that just takes my mind off of work and gives my brain a break. Because as a business owner, my brain is always thinking about work. Like I
It
go to
never
bed
stops.
thinking about work, I wake up
Yep.
thinking about work, and
Dream
that's
about
draining
work.
on our. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
like it's
Mm-hmm.
draining. And so, in order, and product design is my favorite. Being creative is my favorite thing to do. But being the owner, there are so many owner tasks that have to happen. I mean, approving marketing emails, budgeting, messing with the
Mm-hmm.
finances, the credit card bill, meeting with my accountant, looking at inventory numbers.
Yep.
I oversee all of our sourcing and quality control. I mean, I take the trash out of my office. I mean, like, I am
Yep.
the product designer and I'm the janitor. Like, I mean, it's,
Yes. I
um,
love that. Yes. So
yes,
true.
yes. So, so glamorous.
Uh-huh.
But,
Not to mention mom of three.
mom of three. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. A side note.
Side note,
Um,
PS.
but yes, so yeah, we'll loop
We'll
back
get
into
there.
that later.
Oh, yes, we will. Oh, yes, we will.
The way that I prioritize creative time is I do a lot of block scheduling. So,
Mm-hmm.
if my inbox is out of control, I'm like, okay, timer for 30 minutes. Let's clean up
Mm-hmm.
this inbox as much as possible in 30 minutes. Can I get it to zero? Absolutely not. But I made a dent on it. Or,
I
oh my
love that.
gosh, my messy desk is stressing me out. Set a timer for 15 minutes, tidy it up the best that I can. I'm a type B, so my
Same
desk is
girl.
always messy. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
that's organized chaos. It's just how I live, how I work, and it's fine. But sometimes it will get bad. Then I'm like, okay, I need to organize this. So a lot
Yep.
of block scheduling. I normally reserve Mondays for the boring stuff, which is
Mm.
like finances, all, paying bills, all the things that I don't love doing, because we talked about the weekend hangover, like the mom
Yep.
hangover. When you have
Mom
a really
hangover.
busy week goes, and then it's Monday and you're tired. So when I don't have a ton of energy, I do the boring stuff. And then
I
by
love that.
Tuesday and Wednesday, I try really hard to reserve those days for design time. And,
Yeah.
earlier on when it was just me, I felt like I was hardly designing at all, which kind of
Mm-hmm.
wasn't fun because that's my favorite part, and the rest of the
Yeah.
time was just filling orders and doing all that stuff. But now I design products every single week, and I love it. And so really trying to protect that time, and when I do need to take a break and when I can feel that burnout coming on, um I changed my setting, changed my scenery. So I took my
Yes.
laptop the other day and my sketchbook, and I just went to a coffee shop, and that was so helpful. I was still working, but just a
Yep.
change of scenery helped so
Yes.
much.
And don't you
And
also feel like the collective energy of the coffee shop? Like there is something energetic about being in a group of people that I'm like, okay, I can let my energy out, like as I'm sitting here just by myself, but like, and
yes,
absorb other people's.
I was listening to some upbeat music. I was watching some friends like chit chat. Like I couldn't hear what they were saying, but
Mhm.
like I was watching them
Right.
chit chat, and they were just
Oh,
like,
I'm
I could
always
tell
trying
they
to
were.
listen. I'm like, what are we
Oh,
talking
I
about,
had my
girls?
headphones in, but I could tell that they were like so happy to be in each other's presence, and that made me happy
Yeah,
just watching.
totally.
But I
Hmm.
had my headphones in, and I was making my list of things that I had ideas for. And I don't have the design programs on my laptop, so I couldn't do any
Hmm.
design work. But I was just I was like laying the foundation. And then I took my list and
Yep.
I came back to my desk where I have my design programs to start laying out, like, okay, what do I want 2025 to look like for design?
Mm,
And so
love that.
I've learned to be very intentional in protecting my design time.
Yes, I love that. And like I think creative burnout, business burnout, mom burnout, life burnout, like burnout happens. We are all so overscheduled and underpaid, I like to say, especially as mothers. And just to be able to have those tools in your toolbox to reset, I think everyone can tap into those. And I also am obsessed with your time blocking because I am so ADHD that like I get hyper focused on things and I dive in for 2 to 3 hours and then come up as like a shell of a soul because I have poured more in 2 to 3 hours than people do in a week and probably not in a healthy way. But I'm so used to just doing things all in. So like I would look at my inbox and be like, I need one of those 2 or 3 hour blocks, but I'm obsessed with that 15 to 30-minute boundary that you hold yourself accountable to be like, I'm going to put a dent and that makes the difference. It doesn't have to be I
You're
think that,
making progress, and
yes,
you're touching
yes.
several different areas, and you might not complete it, but
Mhm.
you're making progress on everything. And so that's really good. But something that I forgot to touch on that you had mentioned is the
Yeah.
creative
Yeah.
flow. Like
Mm.
how you get that creative flow. And
Yeah.
we were just talking off camera about like turning your phone on do not disturb. Like
Hmm.
there is nothing that will wreck your creative flow more than like text messages, social media notifications. I have zero notifications on my phone. I do have text messages and phone
Yeah.
calls. Like, I mean, if like, my husband needs to get a hold of me, but like, I don't
Totally.
have email notifications. I don't have social media notifications. Like, I do not like, I don't want that interfering with my world. Like, if I want to see what's
Yes.
going on social media, like, I will click on the
Right.
app.
On the app.
But like having that time, like I've noticed, like if you just like turn on some of your favorite music, I
Hmm.
really love um, pop goes classical or rap goes classical for
Me too.
like Bridgerton music
Yes. Yes.
because it
I
doesn't have
literally listen to
words.
the Bridgerton soundtrack every time I need to be creative. Oh my God. No way. Yes.
Words. Sometimes words can get distracting to me,
Agreed. Yeah.
but it doesn't have words. Like I'll light a candle, so like listening to good
Ooh.
music, get a cup of coffee, and like I just zone out. And sometimes like the zoning out process, like I'll just like start sketching or making lists or I just when I can get in that creative flow and I'll turn
Hmm.
my team uses Skype to communicate, like I'll
Hmm.
notify them like, hey, I'm designing today, I'm piecing out. And so like
Yep.
I'll turn Skype off, I'll turn email off, and I'll just like, I mean, you really just have to put like those blinders on and just go to like you just have to focus. And but
Yeah.
those are some things that the music, the candle, the cup of coffee, turning off
Hmm.
notifications, attention, just really focusing. Man, good creative stuff comes out of that creative flow, but you kind of have to set the scene, you know?
Yeah. And don't you feel like you've trained your brain to be like, when, like, you've conditioned yourself now to be like, okay, when I listen to this type of music or when I light a candle, it's like time to be creative. Like, and I think that those are like awesome cues to be like, get excited. We're about to do the fun stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I
and I
love
have
that.
like my here, and I always keep my window open because I love
Hmm.
natural light. And so
Yeah.
I mean, there's just several things that I do, and that's just what works for me. I mean, different things work for different people. You know, in
Hmm.
terms of creativity as well, that I really think makes a difference. I don't know that there's scientific facts behind this, but like
We'll
I
say
try to
yes.
drink a lot. Yes, okay. This works for me. So just, you know, in my
As-
personal opinion,
yes.
water, drink a lot of water, you know, limiting sugar and carbs, which is hard because
Hmm.
I love both of those things. You
Same.
know, eating like semi-healthy food, you know, a nutritious lunch, you know, something with vegetables, you know, um, I'm a firm believer in working hard and playing hard. You know,
Yeah.
so just making sure that like when I do shut my office door, like I go have fun with my family and you know, so just making it a true balance where I'm taking care of myself does
Yes.
feed my creativity. You know, because I can't pour from an empty well as a
No.
mom, as a business owner, as a creative. So really kind of I hope it's okay that I kind of steered towards that
We
self-care
can, right. We're
area.
just two girls chatting. We can go wherever we want to go. As you may know, Cincinnati Children's Hospital is near and dear to my heart. If you don't, check out the episode, A Story of Miracles, to be inspired. Not only did they save my daughter's life, but they've saved countless lives each and every day through their exceptional care, tireless research, and so much more. I wanted to find a creative way to not only support women, but to give back to the hospital I hold so dear, and I think I've come up with something really fun and exciting. Okay, I'm just going to shoot you straight here. One of the ways for a podcast to make money is for people to subscribe, aka contribute money to support the show. As exciting as a new way to make money is for me, I wanted to turn this into an opportunity for others. So if you choose to subscribe for as little as $3 a month, where you can cancel at any time, you can submit a friend or a women-owned business to get a special shout out on the podcast, and half of your subscription money will go directly to Cincinnati Children's, supporting their needs in life-saving research and care. This feels amazing to me because everybody wins. Your bestie, your business, the hospital, and the show are all being supported through this effort. Click the support our show link in the show notes today to not only get a shout out, but to support the #1 pediatric hospital in the world. Okay, so I'm diving right on into this tangent. I have found, and this is embarrassing, and this might be my ADHD talking again, and I'm just standing only with my ADHD girlies, but I find it hard to feed myself because I get so hyper focused on what I'm doing that it is so hard for me to stop and go make lunch. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, and or for the sake of going back to your notion of boundaries and how important they are, especially with our own selves, like I'm like, or I could do one more I could get the dishes flipped, or you know, I could lay down for 15 minutes or whatever. I don't know why. Finding, and like I'm starving and I also love to eat, like this is nothing about that, but like sometimes I find those self-care moments of like, are you drinking your water, are you feeding yourself, are you going
Mhm.
for the walk in the sunshine, like are you getting fresh air kind of thing. Like, do
It's
you find those
hard.
hard to prioritize too?
Yes, they're hard. And what's hard about that too is like we know those are good things for us, you
I
know?
know.
And
I know.
so that it is really hard. I mean, like just yesterday, I was like, okay, I want to get this done. I want to get
Mm-hmm.
this project done and sent off, but like my tummy was hungry. And so I'm like, okay, I need to go
Literally.
and eat because that's energy for me, you know? And then
Yes,
I
yes.
gotta go get my kids from school and then I'm gonna be starving and it's gonna be 3 o'clock. And
Mm-hmm. No one
so
wants a
I
hangry
do
mom.
yeah, yeah. So I'm learning that like these are good things for me.
Yes.
You know, being out in the sunshine and getting a little vitamin D, I mean, that's good, you know, like 20
Mm-hmm.
minutes in the sunshine, like that's good for creativity, that's good for your mood. And so
It's
really
so
just
important.
yeah, honestly, I should probably make a sticky note of like do these things like
Yeah.
to be productive and creative each day and just like put a little sticky note by my computer.
It's
um
literally the same as put on your Bridgerton, I'm having an epiphany, and light your candle. It's like drink your water and eat your lunch, Betsy.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, it's the
no,
same
no.
thing. You
Yeah,
know,
I do
one of
a
the
lot
things,
desk lunch. Like eat lunch at my desk a
Yeah.
lot so that I can continue working and
Yes.
eat just to maximize that time.
I definitely agree. And I think one of the big mental shifts that like I have come up with that has been so helpful, and I need to connect this to like a little bit more of the self-care stuff, but when I think about my morning, or when I sit with my journal in the morning and I think about my day and I see all the things on the to-do list, and like sometimes it can be very overwhelming, or it's like I don't even know how to get all this done. Um, I, instead of feeling overwhelmed, I literally will sit and write what I have, in those little blocks or whatever, and like how do I want to feel when I'm doing that. So like, when you're, when we're like this close to our laptop looking at spreadsheets, because you and I don't like spreadsheets, and we're like, maybe if I get closer, it'll make more sense. Like, but it's like, how do I want to feel? I want to feel smart, or I want to feel like I get it, or like I want to feel like whatever. But when I start, so that way, when I sit down and I'm like, I really don't feel like making lunch because like, or I'd rather DoorDash than make the yummy like almond flour wrap with like chicken and salad and like all the fixings on top of it. I'd rather DoorDash, but I'm like, no, like that makes you feel so good. And that's all you want to do today is feel good. Maybe I need to like connect that self-care stuff back to like my whole intention for every single day is like, yeah, I got a lot of stuff to do today, but it's on me for how I want to feel. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feeling, yeah,
It's,
feeling good. And I've really just over the years, like what I put into my body really affects my creativity. And so really
mm,
viewing like what I eat as self-care has been
mm-hmm.
something that I've been exploring for about a year. And
Ooh.
just, if just being very intentional about that. About 4 years ago, I stopped drinking soda. And so
Mm.
that I was hardcore addicted to Dr. Pepper. And
Oh, I love Dr. Pepper.
I know. And I stopped drinking it about 4 years ago, just in on my health journey,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm just trying to limit sugar a little bit more, and it really does
Yeah.
help with my creativity, and it's a source of self care for me. This is all very
Yeah.
personal.
Yeah.
I know this doesn't work for everyone, but because being creative is part of my job, and that's how my brand grows.
Yeah.
And that's how I continue my brand is by creating products. I've really had to dive into how can I be my best self.
I love that. And I think that's what everyone needs to focus on. Okay. So bringing us back to the business before we get to talk even more about the girly stuff is that one of the things is like, yes, you definitely, I'm sure like every business owner and creator have had those posts where it's like you posted something and you worked really hard on that post and you're so excited. And it's literal zero likes, zero comments. Oh my God, have we all been there? Or like sometimes the algorithm is just in a bad mood and you're like, that did not perform. But then you've also had this massive trajectory of like, you've been in People Magazine, you've been featured, you've been picked up, like you're in wholesale, you're in retail. Like, tell me about your business growth and like how you've been able to grow at this clip. Like, do you have any sort of insight that we could share and impart on people who are just trying to grow?
Yeah. Yes. So, going back to showing up and persistence and not giving up. I mean, we're always coming out with new products. Like I always have product in the works. Like
Mm,
I'm designing new products. We've got products being made right now. We have products that are currently shipping. We just received some new product into our warehouse. And so we are primarily wholesale. We do have a retail website that, people can order from,
hmm
but I I love shopping at independent stores.
yeah.
I love buying gifts. My family, we have the pharmacy, and so
Yeah.
small businesses. Even at a young age, my parents they've always just talked about how important it is to support locals, support small businesses, and so um, I've always just had such a big heart and passion for independent stores. So when I'm designing my products, I always think about, okay, how would this be merchandised on the
Ooh.
shelves? How can this merchandise together beautifully? Oh, this could pair really nice with this product. So that's a little bit how I think. The majority of what we do is wholesale, and we have a store locator on our website, so you can type in your zip code and see if a store
Mm,
around you carries the product line. And if they do, go and support them.
love that.
But um, we So like I said, most of my customer base is wholesale, and we go to wholesale markets, which,
Hmm.
for those of you that are listening that aren't familiar with wholesale markets, or maybe you've heard of market but don't really know what it is. It's basically like, they have them at certain times of the year. Betsy, did you ever go to market?
I sure did. Oh my God, it was fun.
Yes, yes. It's like, the biggest mall did you go to Atlanta?
Yes. I went to Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the biggest mall you've ever seen, just filled with gifts and home decor. I mean, like everything that you can imagine. Sometimes you walk past things and you're like, what is this? I mean, like,
Totally.
it is all year long at market. Like, you don't even know what season you're in, you don't know what month you're in, because you see like Christmas over
Christmas.
here and Easter
Yes.
over here and Halloween over here. And it just is like, I mean, it's kind of like a time warp, but it's like in the best way. It's so fun. Like, it's so inspiring. You get to see the coolest window displays and merchandising. So anyway, we exhibit our products at market, and we have our own
Hmm.
showroom at the Dallas Market Center. So
Which is
early on,
huge that you have your own showroom. Let's just like pause
it's
for a second and
amazing.
be like, holy cow, that is huge.
It's amazing, and it is a space that I'm incredibly proud of. I love buyers coming in and seeing it. It's a true representation of the brand, and I every time I'm there, I absolutely love it. But early on, I made connections with buyers, and
Yeah.
I try to, communicate with them over social media and make that connection and that engagement. I want Early on, I made it a point that, like, I wanted people to know, like, I'm not a big, like, I've got two other full-time employees plus me, and then we have a warehouse team that ships everything out, and we have several contractors that help us out on a case-by-case basis, but we're not a large team. We're
Yeah.
all three of us are moms,
I love
and
that.
we are working so hard, but we don't have a staff of 50 people. Like,
Right.
we're a small business, and
Yeah.
we all wear a lot of hats. And I think that being consistent, consistently coming out with new products, and feeding our customers with new products has been really helpful and successful, because wholesale buyers, they're always looking for something new. They're always looking for something different to bring into their store. And then making that connection, we try to provide like 10-star customer service. If you,
Yeah. Oh, I love
email,
that.
my goal is always to leave people better than when we found them. And so,
Yeah.
just helping them quickly, helping them with like one email versus like a ton of back and forth, because we know
Yeah.
people are busy, shipping orders super quickly. So,
Yep.
like, most of our orders will ship same day if they're placed before noon Central Time, which, that's a huge flex that like a lot of massive companies can't offer. I mean, like a lot of massive wholesale companies, it takes like 3 weeks for an order to
Yeah.
ship. And so I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, well, that's flex that we maybe don't come out with thousands of new products per year.
Yeah.
But by golly, order from us, we will get that shipped out and to you quickly. And so, just trying to figure out, like, like I said, we're not a massive business, but like, where does that benefit us? And it's hard to connect with a big company, but like, you can connect with us, and like,
Yeah.
who the showroom is like who you're emailing with behind the scenes, or who's processing your order is who you get to see at market. Um and
I
so I
love
think,
that.
all of those things combined, I just making it very personable, and relatable, and of course creating, creative products that are different and unique, is a perk too. And just
Yeah.
staying true to who I am and my brand. And we're colorful, we're fun, we're sparkly. I know we're not for everyone, but that's not what we're trying to be. Like, I'm not a
No.
Walmart, I'm not a Target. I'm not trying to cater to the masses. I'm catering to, the girl who loves bright colors and happy desk accessories. She loves buying gifts for her friends and her family. She loves celebrations. She loves confetti. So we know who our customer is, and that's who we're serving. And I think that has served our company well to know who our customer is. I am, side note,
Absolutely.
I want to share this really quickly because I'm in this mastermind group with fellow business owners, and we have really talked a lot about our customer avatar,
Yeah.
which is, have you heard about this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Being in
It's
marketing, I'm like, yep, absolutely.
ideal customer. Like, who is your ideal customer? So, my
Hmm.
ideal customer is actually a wholesale buyer because that's the majority of our business is wholesale.
Yeah.
And so I have my wholesale customer, and like we like she's like a person. Like she has
Yeah.
a name,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
I know what she's shopping for. I know how she merchandises her store. I have a vision of what her store looks like. I have a vision of what who her customer is, even though she's my customer, what they're
Yep.
looking
Totally.
for, what they like. And so anytime I design a product, I have to run it past I run it past like, would my ideal customer buy this? Like, would she like
Oh,
this? Like,
yeah.
do I envision this in her store? And so that's I know it sounds kind of weird, but I've really honed into
No.
that over the last year or so. And that's been super helpful because sometimes, I can start, veering off onto or focus on a trend because I think it's cool or fun or it's
Yeah.
trendy. And then I run it past, like, would my avatar sell this? No, I don't think
Yeah.
that she would. And
Totally.
nope. So it helps me
Nope.
staying on
I love
path
that.
of being authentic.
Well, and like what I'm really taking away from this is that, like, in order for you to achieve growth, being so connected to the values that you have for your business about good customer service, high quality, supporting local small, those things that, and being a real person behind the brand. And then also
Yeah.
staying true to who you are as a creator. Oh, I didn't figure out that do not disturb. Apparently, I have a calendar meeting. Um, Staying connected to who you are as a creator as well as who you serve as a customer. I think that is truly the formula for growth. Stick to your values and stick to who you serve and stick to who you are. And I know that sounds overly simplified for all the beautiful detail that you put in that, but sometimes it helps to just boil the ocean a bit for those who are just
Yes.
feeling so stuck in their growth. And I think that those 3 points really support so many women, so many creators. Like, okay, you're in the gift category. Is there a more crowded category? I mean, my goodness, how many options are there in terms of retailers, types of gifts, a gift occasion? And yet you still stand out and shine because you're not afraid to stand in a crowded category because you are
Right.
connected to what you love and your gifts that you are as a whole, as a creator. You are connected to the person that you serve because you care so deeply about them, and you stick to the core values that you've established for your company. And now look at you. Like, you literally have your own showroom in the Dallas market. You've been featured in all these amazing things, and you love what you do every day, and you're surrounded by people that support you. Like, you are literally killing it. And it's like, because you are so true to who you are and what you build at its core, that I feel like this growth is just completely taken off. I don't know. I don't mean to oversimplify, but for just to kind of like put a bow
No,
on
not
it,
at
because
all. It's been really cool to watch. And I do have to
mm-hmm,
acknowledge, I have never taken a business class in my life. And so I do truly believe that God has opened doors and opportunities, and He's closed several doors as well. I
mm-hmm,
mean, this is really cool to see God work through this business and guide
mm,
that path. Um, and and just the connections that he has made through this business. Like I love our showroom so deeply because I want every person that walks in to feel seen and loved. And it just is, we add such a high level of hospitality too. Like, we've got comfy chairs, we've got phone chargers. Would you like a drink? Would you like a snack? Here's some freebies. Oh,
ooh,
would you just like some fun things that, like, a way that we can love on people, because more than
yeah.
loving on people and making them feel seen is so much more than just the transaction, and so it's been really, really cool to be able to connect with people through this business.
I love that. And I think that also goes back to not being so hung up on sales. It really is around the connection that you're making with your customer. Oh, so good. Okay. One of my
I
other
also,
favorite.
I,
Oh,
oh,
please.
sorry.
No
No, I
way.
just
Let's
wanted to
hear
say
it.
for listeners who,
Yeah.
you had touched on the gift industry, like there's a lot of gift brands. I mean, like you have
Yeah.
so many options when you buy a
Yeah.
gift. Um, and so for listeners, I wanted to touch on if you feel like the category or the industry that you're interested in feels too saturated,
Hmm.
I would take that thought and just remove it from your
I
brain
love it.
because I truly believe that I always think about the bread aisle at the grocery store. There are a
Yeah.
million different kinds of bread, and they're
Yeah.
all in business. And like there they
Yep.
are in front of you. And because everyone has a different style, everyone has a different preference, and I do believe that there's enough sunshine for everyone. Like I
Yes.
truly wholeheartedly believe
Same.
that.
Same.
And so I would don't let that be the reason you don't put the next step forward in pursuing your dream. I mean, if you have a dream and a desire in your heart, like God put that in your heart for a reason, and He's
Mm.
equipped you with what you need to fulfill that. And I think that's
Yes.
something that, you kind of have to like chew on that for a minute to be like, okay, if I want to do something and I feel like I'm not equipped to do it, but like I want to do it, like you are equipped with, the intelligence, the grit, the creativity, whatever it takes to do that, like you are equipped with that. Like you might not know
Yes.
it yet, but like you just have to you have to put forth the action to make it happen. Like just do it, you know?
Yes, just do it. I love that. And like uh, to think about, I've never thought about it this way. I'm always like, there's enough room for everyone, full stop. I believe there's so much demand in this world that there is enough room for everyone in every category. And I'm obsessed with the bread aisle analogy. I'm never going to forget that. And like, yes, God put this or the universe put this, whomever put this dream on your heart for a reason, gave you those gifts, some of them which you know, and some of which you haven't even uncovered yet for a reason. And if you think about your crowded category, let's think about the girl next to you. The universe, the God also put those dreams and those gifts in her for a reason. So, like, let's not compete. Let's just be like, hey, that's awesome. You do you. I'm going to do me. And let's both just enjoy this. And there is room for everyone. So, like, let's clap.
Yeah.
Let's like be like, yeah, you're doing a great job. Like, that's so awesome. I'm over here doing my thing too. There's room for everyone and everyone can win.
Yes, 100%. And in a slightly different light, what God put on my heart is different than maybe what God put on your heart. And
Yeah.
so when we share our dreams and ideas with people, I think it's really important to not take their reactions so deeply to heart because they might
Ooh,
not understand
yeah.
your vision or what God has put on your heart, but maybe they might be a little confused when you share with them your goal, your dreams, and your visions. And if they're like, that's
That,
interesting. That's something that I struggled with early on is people not really understanding what I wanted to do and having the weight of their reaction. I carried that too much. Does
that
that make
is
sense?
so, it makes all the sense. And that is such good insight because,
You have to
you know,
be careful who you tell your goals and dreams to.
yes, yes, find those supportive people that believe, that understand you and believe, because you're right. No one probably has any ill intention, but they're just like, they don't get it. And you can't let that get in the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
the
that's so good.
fire that is inside of you to achieve that dream or that goal, God didn't give that fire and that desire to another person. And so while you're over here really passionate and you're like, I'm doing this, and they're
Hmm.
like, and then you step back and you're like, well, maybe I shouldn't do it. I mean, like, I
Yeah.
think they think I'm crazy.
Yes.
You just don't want to let their opinions weigh too heavily on you. Just, brush it off and keep on going. And, they don't understand, and that's okay.
And that's okay. That's totally just like maybe they're not your customer and they don't fit your avatar. That's okay. That is so good. Again, like you keep coming up with these amazing boundaries of being like, nope, not allowed. You do not live here rent free. Thank you. Like, I think that
Yeah,
that
no, this is all
is,
from experience. I mean, like
yep,
10 years
right.
ago, I would have been like, I own a business and but no, all of
I
this
get
is
it.
just from experience. And a lot of this is mindset shifts too. I mean,
Yes.
like I literally have to be intentional about my mindset
Mhm.
constantly, like
Constantly.
I do not let competition live inside of my brain. I mean, I'm competitive with myself. I
Yeah.
don't let comparison live inside of my brain. I mean, there are just several things that I literally have to take. I mean, not literally, but like, I take tweezer,
Kind
like
of.
literally
Yeah.
inventing tweezer and like
Yeah.
plucking it out of my brain.
Hmm.
Like if I feel a week of comparison coming up, like, nope,
Nope.
not gonna be here. Like if I
Mm-mm.
feel envy or if there's something a negative feeling comes up, like I'm just like I'm not going there. Like I'm not going to let my brain go here. um there's so many things that can come up from social media. And I'm also
Hmm.
very careful. I don't follow a lot of other gift brands, not because I don't want to support them,
Oh, I
but
get it.
because that's a boundary for me. I don't want to
Yes.
start seeing their designs and then all of a sudden my designs look like their designs, because it's really important for my brand to be fresh and unique and different and to be a true
Yes.
representation of my authenticity and who I am. And so that's a hard boundary that I have, is I just don't pay a lot of attention to other gift brands. I will support you like crazy.
Of
And I
course.
will, buy those items. I just don't follow them on social media.
I
So there,
completely
yeah.
get that. No, honest to goodness, because also like you don't want it to mess with your creative flow. You don't want to get comparative. I think that is so healthy and is not from a place of like competition. It is from a place of boundary and your own mindset. Who do you like to follow on social media then?
I follow my stores. Like I love to
Cool.
see what my
Yeah.
stores are doing. I follow, so I have my business account and then I have like my personal account.
Mm-hmm.
And my personal account, I just follow like interior, like I love interior design. Like I just think
Mm-hmm.
it's fun. And I mean, I follow
Totally.
like a few random influencer accounts that I like their style, but on my business account, it's almost all my stores or my wish list stores that I would love to see the product line carried in. But I love to see what they're doing. I love to see what they're merchandising or how they're merchandising. I like to see the events that they're, setting up for their customers. I like to stay in touch with my customers in that way.
I
Um,
love that. I think that's amazing. I'm taking this for myself too. I'm like, you know what? It is hard to follow other business coaches because you're like, should I be saying it that way? Should I be making reels this way? Should I be doing this? And like at the end of the day, like I know who I serve. I know who I am. I know what I love about coaching. I know what I love about business. Now I kind of want to go follow a bunch of small businesses that are like, business women owners and be like, and snap
yeah,
all that out and be like, now I know who I'm serving. I'm watching you and I'm rooting for you and I'm serving you. This is so good. Thank you for being my
yeah.
therapist for the day and
Yeah.
my business coach.
And we interact with our customers and,
Hmm.
like if someone, like, what is the simplest, easiest, free way to support them? Follow
Yeah.
them and
Yeah.
give them some encouragement, like their
Hmm.
post, or like if they did. I mean, I also love to see how they're merchandising Taylor Elliott Designs,
Totally.
because if you
Yeah.
tag me, I'm going to look at it and I'm going to comment on it because that's fun.
Yes.
Um, but and then we'll most likely share it on our stories too, because that's fun too, because we just like to
Right.
showcase stores that carry our products and merchandise them.
Absolutely.
And but I mean, it's fun. I mean, I love seeing how stores, like a beautifully merchandised store, just
Mm,
makes my heart beat a little bit faster. So to see
totally.
those on social media, like we love to comment and give them encouragement. And I mean, even if it's not my product and there's like a cute sweater on there, I'm like, ooh, cute sweater. How can I buy
Yeah.
this? It's actually kind of terrible
Totally.
for my pocket, but it's fun.
I think that's awesome. I'm super inspired. I'm way into this. I love that advice. Is there anything better than when someone asks you where you got something and you're like, Amazon, can you believe it? It's like when someone says, oh, I love your dress, and you get to be like, it has pockets. I love Amazon because I can experiment with trends and activewear and fashion, beauty, and anything else I really want without having to break the bank. If you're like me and you get a little bit sad, okay, maybe more than a little bit sad when there's no package at the door, then you are my people. Also, I think we might need help. But until then, visit amazon.com/shop/write your own story co, or click the link in the show notes to shop all my faves in fashion, beauty, home decor, organization, and more. These are treasures you're not going to want to miss. Okay, so speaking of people that carry you, I'm literally obsessed with you, and I love DMing you, and I can't wait for you to teach me how to do my cutting garden and a million things. But one of the things that we connected on over DM was you were so brave and using your voice recently around a vendor that carried you, and there was some tension. I think it was such a beautiful example of using your voice, tapping into the power of your community and social media. So can you tell us about Francesca's, what happened, and just give more context to what I'm referencing?
So we primarily work with independent stores, and we got a purchase order from them, and I was very excited, and we fulfilled it. And after it had shipped to them, I'm a part of a few different groups of brand owners in the gift industry, and there were some rumble, that they were late on some payments. And so I thought, oh goodness, we just sent this purchase order, but we sent it on terms, which means they receive the product and then they have 60 days to sell the product, get the money back, and then to pay us. So they get their costs back, they get the profit, and then they can use that to pay us. Well, the 60-day mark rolled around, the 90-day mark rolled around, and it was crickets. I mean, we didn't hear from anyone. We sent a lot of emails, we resent the invoice multiple times, and from talking to some industry experts, I had pretty much come to the conclusion that we were not going to get paid on this order. And it was it was just under $13,000, which is a lot for a small business. And and so and these orders, they're very time consuming to fulfill. They need special stickering, special labeling. So we spent a lot of time on this order. And so I was pretty certain that we weren't going to get paid on this order, and I was very frustrated. I was frustrated that a large company could get away with this. And that it just kind of was swept under the rug, that this could silently happen, and that it was okay.
And that it was not happening to just you, right? It was happening to other people in the industry?
Yes. And I had heard of a couple other people that it was happening to. And so they had told me, I think you should just basically move on. Just expect not to get paid and move on. And I'm just like, sink the cost. I am not swallowing the fact that I'm not going to accept this. I will not accept this. And so, I thought about going to the local store and holding up like a sign, and then I thought, you know what? I have my 6-year-old son with me, so that's probably not a good idea. I don't know, but maybe, I thought, oh, social media. Social media would be a great way to tell my story. And so, I got home and I filmed this, 90-second video of, hey, I want to share a little bit about behind the scenes of what we're dealing with here at Taylor Elliott Designs. We received a purchase order. It's way overdue, just under $13,000. We've reached out to them many, many, many times with no response. The buyers have gone silent. And this sucks, And so I didn't want any other brands to get into this situation if they received a very appealing purchase order from Francesca's. Also, too, you have a choice in where you shop, and, shop small, and, so that's really what I was trying to convey in it. And at this point, I was very confident I was not going to get paid. So at this point, what did I have to lose? And so I posted it on Instagram, and immediately got a gazillion comments, and a few people said, you need to post this on TikTok and let TikTok do its thing. And I thought, what does that even mean?
Yeah. I'm too old. Yeah.
Our customer base is very much on Instagram, our
Mm-hmm.
stores.
Mm-hmm.
That's where our customer is. And so I thought, okay, well, we have a business TikTok account. We hardly ever mess with it, but let's give it a try. Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know what these people are talking about, but let's do it. So I posted it on TikTok, and it had like within like 3 or 4 hours, it had like over 1 million views.
Oh my
And so,
God. I didn't realize it
yes,
was that exponential.
yeah. And then other brands started contacting me saying, "Oh, they owe us money. They owe us
Oh,
money. They owe us money." And so I thought, "Oh my gosh, like there's so many small businesses that they owe money to like this." And honestly, mine was one of the smaller ones. I mean, like there
mm.
was like 28,000, there was
Oh my
35,
gosh.
there was over 100,000. There was one that I think was around like 75 or 80. And so a few of the other ones made videos as well. And so that felt good. That felt fun. It was fun. It was encouraging that I was able to empower some other small business owners, to
Yep.
also speak up. Within 3 or 4 hours, I got an email from someone at Francesca's that said, if we can get you the payment, if we can get you paid today, like, would you take down the video? And I thought I would. I said back to them, I
Yeah.
would gladly take down the video, because I wasn't doing this for the
Right.
TikTok fame or anything like
Right.
that. I just
Right.
wanted to get paid and move. That's all I wanted from this,
Yep.
was to get our hard-earned money and move on. And so I said gladly. And so the next morning, they, wired the money, and then I took down the video. And so something that I think is so powerful from that experience is the power of community, the power of social media, and
Mm-hmm.
the support of small businesses. Like, people love rooting for small businesses. They love supporting
Yep.
small businesses.
Yep.
And then just the power of social media, and building a community. Over the years, we have built a community, a lot of, our, direct customers, and then our wholesalers. And we support one another. We get to see each other at market. And they really showed up for me, and they were very supportive. Lots of sharing the story, and just getting the word out there. It made a huge impact. Francesca's turned off their comments on Instagram and TikTok because so many people were
Dang.
blowing.
Yep. And I mean, what a talk about, God or the universe putting something on your heart, because that's really brave. I'm sure there were people in your community that were nervous for you, because it's a big deal to put stick your neck out and stand up for yourself on social. And like, you were so brave and stood up for your company, stood up for the women who work for you, who put all this extra time and energy into it, stood up for what you deserve from a profitability standpoint. But you were such a leader in the small business space where people can be like, I can use my voice even with these big guys. And like, what a beautiful ripple effect. And to your point, what a great like full circle moment where it really engaged your community in a new way. And I think it's cool that you really like, just a great example of what it's like to be a leader in your community. So I was like, well, she's a badass. And like, and it was, but you did it with such grace. Truly, you stuck to the facts. You were like, this is not okay. Again, I think I'm going to actually make you a crown that says Queen of Boundaries. And you're like, I'm going to literally send it direct to you, and it's going to be
I will
bedazzled.
wear it.
I'm not kidding. I can't wait to craft this. I'm gonna have my friend Laura over. She also loves to craft. We're gonna drink wine and craft and make you a crown. But it's just like, you're like, no, this is absolutely unacceptable. And now I'm going to show other small business owners how to tactfully, with grace, but with power, say, no, this is not acceptable. And you not only accomplished what you set out to accomplish, you got paid, but you made such an impact on the community. So I was so inspired, and I was like, yes, be brave, use your voice. And doesn't that apply to all aspects of life? You don't have to get on social and talk about your business, but maybe you need to stand up for yourself in your relationship, or maybe you need to advocate for your kid at school, and you're like, oh, I'm going to be that girl. Like, be that girl. Use your voice. Don't be afraid. I freaking love it.
You can always use your voice in a
Mm-hmm.
very kind, confident way. We talked about
Mm-hmm.
off camera the difference
Mm-hmm.
between being kind and nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice is
Snaps.
kind about
Snaps.
hurting people. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Being nice is very fluffy, and
Mm-hmm.
you're worried about hurting people's feelings. And being kind is, you care about people and you love people, but you have boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Yes. God, there is
And
such a
you have
difference.
self-value and self-worth for yourself.
Yes. Oh, I could talk about self worth for a
Yes.
bajillion hours. I was reading this
Have
book
you
called Worthy.
Oh, I was just about to say that.
Shut up. No way. I'm obsessed with that book. Aren't you?
Same, yeah. Yeah.
I literally have full body goosebumps. I listened to it on audio, but I bought the book so I could like highlight and underline because I'm a nerd. But she
Yeah.
was like, when she said the difference between self worth and self confidence, that there is a difference. I don't think I had realized that. I literally stopped the thing and was like, holy shit, excuse my language. But I was like, there's such a difference. And I'd never tapped into
Now
consciously my worth.
I have goosebumps now too, because I wrote down because I'm a nerd too, so I have like my prepared paper for our
Yes,
podcast,
yes,
and I
yes.
wrote Jamie Kern Lima, like the confidence stems from our skills and abilities, but worth stems from just that self value. It's so much deeper, and I never
Mm-mm.
separated the two or even thought about it. And I was listening to the audiobook because I will drive to Dallas back and forth. It's about 3 hours to the
Oh,
showroom.
yeah.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I can get through some audiobooks. And I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
like driving or sitting in Dallas traffic being like, self confidence and self worth are different. Like, and it was like, it was, the realization, that has stuck with me. It's
I
so good.
I have full body goosebumps that we are having this moment right now. Like even almost tears starting to well in my eyes because I think it is so important for women to realize that there is a difference. And I love that she says, like, worth is you're born with it. Everyone is worthy. You are born with self worth. You learn self confidence through experience. And so no one can touch your worth. And even people who do, like who make mistakes, who do harm, who like, they also are worthy. Their behavior may not be okay, but like everyone is worthy of love, acceptance, success, all the things. I was like,
Yes.
I,
Well, I think too, like the hardship of life can
mm,
be really tough. And there are a lot of
yes,
struggles in life,
yes.
and how we navigate them. And I I have confidence as a product designer that, that
Mm-hmm.
God has gifted me with those skills and those talents. But the worth of I've struggled with that aspect of worth. Like, am I
Yes.
worthy of when people say kind words about my product line and my creativity? And I've many times just brushed those off because I think
Yep.
my self-value and my self-worth, like I just didn't believe I was worthy of those kind words, or worthy of having a beautiful life, worthy
Yes.
of having a
Yes.
successful business. And that leads a little bit to like imposter syndrome too, is that like
Uh-huh.
you don't feel worthy of the things that God has blessed you with. And ever since reading or listening to that book on audio, like it is just, I have been focused more on worth versus confidence, because I
Yes.
have the confidence, but it's the worth of like, I am worthy of a beautiful life. I'm worthy of these, even like, as a woman, have you ever received a compliment and you just kind of are like, oh, they're just saying that to be nice,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like,
Or you know what the other thing? I do that a
what?
lot. And I just got called out by a dear friend. She's like a big sister to me. And she's so gracious and gives compliments all the time to everyone. And she was giving one to me. And she was like, every time I give you a compliment, you compliment me back. Can you just take it? And I was like, no, I can't. Like, it's so uncomfortable to sit with a compliment. And that goes back to the worthiness issue. So I'm trying to be better to just hold space for it and say thank you. And I'm
Well,
like,
and really just believing what they're
yeah,
saying,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's easy to just kind of like receive it and brush it off. You know what I mean? Like you're just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, they're saying that. But really just like believing and going back to like what you're telling your kids is that
Mm-hmm.
like you wish that they could see the way that you see them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What we
Yes.
talked about, the way that like
Yes.
someone else sees you, us seeing ourselves that way and just having that worthiness for ourselves. So, um,
Oh,
this was not on the agenda for the podcast, but I'm
no.
loving it.
Me too. I'm literally obsessed. I cannot believe that we literally just finished each other's sentences, even on the very specific sentences in her book, let alone the same book.
I
Oh,
know. No, like
this.
I literally have it written down right here. Like that book has been, I mean, there are very few books that I like genuinely love. And I'm
Mhm,
about 3/4 of the way through
mhm.
Worthy, and I love it. The other book that I really love is Everything is Figure Outable by Marie
Yes.
Forleo.
Forleo. Yup. Love that
Yes,
book.
yeah, that
What a
is
great mantra.
that's a great book for just tackling situations in life. And I mean, everything is figure outable. So I really, and
Mhm.
Atomic Habits, I love Atomic Habits too.
Yes, yes. I literally just thought about rereading that. But don't you feel like those are the books that you reread too? And well, I re-listen because like, I
Oh yeah.
always like, yeah, when I'm unloading the dishwasher, or I'll put in a podcast or listen to my audiobook, or like you said, driving the kids everywhere and all that kind of stuff, or driving, wherever we all drive. Oh my
um
God, what a
I
magical moment.
know, do you subscribe to James Clear's weekly emails?
No, do I need to?
Yes, you do. Like they're the most simple emails. Like it's literally just like white with black text. But it's
Yes.
always like quotes and ideas from him. So he sends them out every Thursday. So like he just sent one out yesterday. And they're just thoughts and quotes and ideas. And it's
I
always like
love
three,
that.
two, one. Like three ideas, um, two quotes, and so I don't know. So anyway, you have to look into it.
I'm
It's
obsessed. Okay. I'm linking those books. And when I find the link to subscribe to that, I'm going to put all of this in the show notes because I just like, I love a resource. No one is born with, we're all born with worth, but no one is born with this like vast knowledge to build our self confidence. So, like, I think sharing these types of resources is so important.
his weekly emails. I read them every single week.
Okay, so this is like the greatest transition into what now shifting, like even just out of business, but a business is part of life, life is part of business. But like, what have you had to figure out? When we think about women, and I like so many businesses are born out of like, I had to figure this out and I have a passion for it. And it is actually my gift. So I'm going to, share it. But I think there's so much wisdom that women can share with each other. What are things that you've had to figure out or wisdom that you can share that you would, you've had to figure out and you're like, man, I wish someone could have told me that or anything like that, that you would love to share with women listening?
Yeah, we talked about how God has equipped us
Mm-hmm.
with everything that we need to fulfill our dreams, and I think really leaning into that and believing that. And I think
Mm-hmm.
too, people see, especially women who have children already, they think like, oh, well, I'm a mom, so I can't really do that right now. But if you
Mm-hmm.
think about like every business, like we'll use my business as an example. Like when you look at it on paper, or you look at it on social media or a website, like I mean, like it's big. Like there's a lot going on in the business.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there's a lot going, but all of it is just little ideas and baby steps put together to create something bigger. So even
Mm.
in your spare time, you're busy being a mom, and in your spare time, even if you devote, 30 minutes a week and you just devote a little bit of time, like you don't have to pick between being achieving your dreams and being a mom. I think oftentimes,
Agree.
society tells us like it's one or the other. You can't have both, but you
Yes.
can have both. I'm here to tell you that you can have both.
Same.
You are here to tell people that, it takes some prioritization and
Mm-hmm.
some, I have help and, delegating. And then I do the things that I really want to do. Like I have a hard stop every day at 3 p.m. so I can go get my
Mm-hmm.
kids from school. That's
Yep.
important
Hard
to me
stop.
because
Yes.
I want to pick them up. I want to hear about their days.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, like I will come back home, I'll get them set up with a snack, and then I'll
Yep.
finish up my work day. I mean, but
Yep.
I want to pick them up. And so I organize my day so that I can make that happen. And so I think that one of the things that I do want to share is that like you can start your business without knowing all the answers. Like
Mm.
we source all of our products.
Snaps.
And
Yep.
when I yeah, when I started, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how to find manufacturers. I didn't know how to find people to make my products, but I taught myself.
Yeah.
Like Google's quite amazing
Google.
these days.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and trial and error. I think a lot of people are afraid of trial and error. I think people are afraid of failure and regret. But honestly, I think that one of the scariest things to me would be living with the regret of not trying something. Even if I failed, at least I knew that I tried it and gave it my all, you know?
Full body goosebumps. I just,
Yeah.
the thought of regret of not doing something that you genuinely want to do when you get one shot, and life can be really short. God
I know
willing, it's
it's
long, but yes,
yeah,
go
yeah.
for it.
I
Yes.
quote come up. I don't know, like on social media. It's like, what could go right? Instead of what could go wrong,
Yes.
like what could go right?
Yes. Yes. That is another journal prompt that I use all the time. What if it worked out? What would it look like? What would it look like if what you're so worried about, what would it look like if it worked out? It
I
is
know.
just unbelievable. Also, I want to say that if you have a dream on your heart to do it, even if you only want to do it 5 hours a week, or you just want to do it for your friends, or you want to use your gifts in PTO or in volunteering your time, like that is also leaning into your gifts and being who you are in a way that you want to do it. You and I both, I mean, I only work 20, 25 hours a week. I don't know but that doesn't mean that I haven't worked 40 before. That doesn't mean I haven't worked 50 or 60 before. And that doesn't mean I haven't not worked at all. I find that 20 to 25 hours a week for my priorities as a mother, my priorities for taking care of myself, and just genuinely how much I love to work is what works for
Yeah.
me. It doesn't have to work for everybody, but I love that notion of do not regret letting what it is that you love to do sit on the back burner for your life and pass you by. I think that is so good.
100%. Yeah. And I think too, like, it's hard to envision what could be if you don't try it. And,
Mm-hmm.
early on when I started my business, I didn't envision it being what it is right now. And I think that just goes back to God's plans are so much better than our plans. Like, our brains are
Mm-hmm.
so tiny, we can't even imagine the great things that He has in store for us. So if I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have taken that leap, or if I would have listened to the opinion of others, then I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be here experiencing this beautiful journey. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, you
I
just have to
think
take the leap.
yes, take the leap and embrace and be ready for failure and welcome it, and failure is in it didn't all fall down, but is in mistakes or, because we live and we learn and probably in
Even in mistakes and failure, I mean, like, there's so much character building in that too. So even
yes.
if something doesn't work out, something I've learned that I think is so beautiful is, I can look back and I've had some jobs that I did not love, like that were
Mm-hmm.
quite awful, actually. But in each one of those, I learned something. And so no experience should be disregarded. There's something beneficial from every single experience, which led me to where I am today, which if you think about that, that's so cool,
Yes.
and to be able to
Right.
look back and just like, and for listeners, if they're in a place, maybe at a job or a season of life that like they're sitting in the suck, like they don't love
Sitting in
where
the
they are
suck.
right now, this is
Mm-hmm.
just part of your journey. And I think everyone who's built something has been there, and you just
Yes.
have to be just don't get complacent, like you
Yeah.
have to do something to get out of that place.
I
And
think
but
that's beautiful.
everyone's been in a crappy job. Everyone's
Right.
been in a crappy season of life. You just have to figure out how to get your way out of it.
Yep. And I think one of my favorite quotes too, or sayings or whatever we want to call it, is you're not buried, you've been planted. So those moments where you feel so underground and you're like, I cannot figure out how to get out of this, or how I am in the suck so big time, but you just have to have faith that you have been planted, and you have to, like you were saying, you take care of yourself. You have to water yourself, if we're just going to really go with this plant analogy here, but you have to care for yourself and tend to yourself because you truly have been planted. And I can tell you from being buried so many damn times in this life, every single time I've been planted. And I am so grateful for every door that is closed, for everything that has fallen apart, because I am better for it every time, whether it be more at peace with myself or a pivot that I needed, but to just know that you will rise.
Yes. Yep.
Mm.
100%. Love that.
What do you wish women talked more about? I love this question because I get such great, I don't know, such different answers and they're all so important. So, what do you wish women talked more about?
I wish women talked more about mental health. It's something that
Snaps.
I have been I'm on a journey, and it has been, this is something that's hard to talk about, because there
Hmm.
is shame associated with it. There's a stigma
Hmm.
associated with it. And I think especially after having kids, I have 3 kids,
Hmm.
there are some hormone shifts and some
Oh,
things that just are
yes.
different
Yes.
pregnancy. And I just didn't feel like myself. And
Mm,
I constantly felt like I was swimming upstream. And it
mm,
felt like everyone around me was just so happy all the time. Like,
mm.
how are these
Oh,
people so happy all the time? And I didn't feel happy. And it's not that
yeah.
anything around me was not good. It was
Hmm.
that needed I needed some help. And
Yes.
I felt so alone in that
Mm,
moment, and I was so ashamed. And I remember calling to make the appointment, and like I could barely get the words out of my mouth of that, like
mhm.
I needed to talk about this with someone. Like I was so embarrassed and so ashamed because I felt like my body had failed me in a way.
Yeah.
Uh, or my brain had failed me, or that I
Yeah.
wasn't given what I needed to like sort through a tough
Hmm.
situation.
Yep.
And I I'm getting more comfortable talking about it just because I have over I feel like I have overcome it, or at least found a solution to help
Yeah.
me. And so it helps me as a wife, as a mom, as a business owner. You know, life throws some pretty crazy stuff at you
It sure
sometimes.
does.
And
Hmm.
I'm equipped to handle it way better now. That doesn't mean that like I don't ever get stressed. It
Hmm.
doesn't mean that, sad things never happen, or that, annoying problems might happen at work, but I just think that I'm equipped better to just handle it and move on. Like let's address this and let's move on. It doesn't haunt me it doesn't torment me
Yeah.
for the next, 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And to your point
So,
of like you were missing the happy, that happens too.
yeah.
I am literally, I run on high octane and just like excessive happiness. That said, there are moments where I can't get to happy, which feels so foreign to me because chemically that is how my brain works. But every woman, I promise you, has moments where they're like, I cannot find happy. I'm sure men too. And you just saying that out loud and saying that you had to make the phone call and feeling like you couldn't get the words out gives one more woman out there the permission and the strength and to know that they are not alone in that and that they can make the phone call. And what a great gift to yourself now that you have a whole new set of tools that you not only have for
Mhm.
yourself, but you now have that for your children. What happens when your children can't find their happy? Now you're equipped to be
Yeah.
able to guide them through that. Oh, it's just so
Yeah.
important. Mental health is everything.
It really is. And I remember thinking like I just felt like life was harder than it should be, and
Yeah,
just
totally.
everything felt like a constant like uphill struggle for me. And
Hmm.
excuse me, like every task for work, or everything just felt really hard. And I know that there are hard parts of life, but when everything feels hard, that
Hmm.
is when I thought, what if I could receive a little bit of help that would
Hmm.
just bring me a little bit of ease? And to help listeners a little bit more, for me it was eating better foods, taking
Yeah.
taking a medication, and
Yep.
I'm very quick to not just like, I'm not a huge medicine taker.
Yeah.
I don't just take medicine to take medicine. And so this was
Hmm.
something that it was not taken lightly for me. But, I worked
Yeah.
with my provider, to figure out what would be best for me. And
Yeah.
I just am so grateful that I had the courage to make the appointment and talk with her about it, because it's completely changed my life. Like it's made me a better
Absolutely.
mom, a better wife, a better business owner. I really can't say anything other than like it's quite literally changed my life for the better.
I have
And
I
I
have
genuinely
goosebumps.
feel good and happiness now that I never hardly felt before. And, and like I said, Betsy, this is still something that's like so new to me to share out
Mhm.
loud, but if it can help one listener feel that happiness and joy and not feel like they're constantly swimming upstream,
Mhm.
then it's worth it. Like sharing this vulnerable part of my story is worth it.
I am so grateful for you sharing that. Also, for the record, I took medication. My best friend, all three of my best friends have all taken medication because to me, it felt like I love your analogy of swimming upstream. And when I think about the mind and we all are like, we should be able to figure this out. And also, same, we all have to try sort of like getting to the root of what the issue is, trying to eat healthy, do those things. But at the end of the day, if you have a broken leg, and it hurts to walk on your leg every single day, wouldn't you get a
Mhm.
cast? Wouldn't you get it fixed? And so if
Yeah.
you have neural
No,
pathways, yeah, and chemicals that have, essentially sort of been fractured like a leg, why aren't we seeking medical attention for that?
yeah, totally. And I am like, I mean, I know therapy has a stigma associated with it too, but I love therapy. I think that
Me
therapy is
too.
wonderful in that, like, it's like you go to the gym to work out your arms and your legs, but you go to therapy to like work your brain muscles, like
Yes.
learn,
Yes.
like, learn different thought processes, and paint different, you're able to kind of like shift perspectives and, things like that. And so I went to therapy for years before I decided, like, hey, I think I need something a little bit
Mhm.
more. And
Yes.
so I do think that, like, it's a full picture situation. And so, yeah, because I mean, like, some people are like, oh, it's just a mind shift switch. But like when like when there's a chemical imbalance, like that's not your
Mhm.
fault. Like
No,
that's
not
something
even
that you just,
close.
a broken leg, excuse me, a broken leg, you need a cast. When there's
Mm.
chemical imbalances, like you need help, and that's okay.
Yes.
It's okay to
Yes.
ask for help, and it might feel weak asking for help, but it's not, because on the
Mm.
other side, like, you're a better person, you're stronger. And I've had a lot of one-on-one conversations with friends, and in that one-on-one connection, I will tell them about the medication, in a comfortable setting. And a lot of them have said, like, oh, I've taken medicine before too, or oh, I'm currently
Mhm.
taking medicine. And just because I was vulnerable and I opened up, they felt comfortable opening up as well.
And it is such a beautiful example of leadership that you continue to show in such a gracious way. I mean, literally just saying this out loud helps so many women. And I know, it's hard for all of us to talk about. And I am just so grateful that you were brave enough to share this on this show because it is helping someone more than you know, truly. And I think that that is what a gift, truly. Okay. So
Yeah,
now that
well,
you really,
this is the beginning of me sharing my mental health journey. Before, it was,
oh,
I was very quiet about it, but I am
yeah.
getting more comfortable with it. And this is me, and this is me and my authentic self, and this is how God created me. And so
Mm.
it feels very freeing to share this part of my life.
Don't you feel like tapping into those gifts, one of your gifts absolutely being leadership and authenticity and tapping into your authentic self, like tapping into your gifts is freedom. And I don't know how to quite explain that. I just know it feels that way. I don't
Yes.
know. Do you feel that
Yeah, I don't
way?
know how to explain it either, but yes, no, I feel it. I'm on your wavelength. I feel it.
Yeah, of course you are. We are literally the same wavelength. Okay. So I love to end on like, what are you loving about? We've talked about all the things that are hard and what we wish we talked about. Where are the places that you find joy in your life?
I'm really loving the season of motherhood that I'm in right now. So we have a
Mm.
7-year-old, a 4.5-year-old, and a 2.5-year-old. And so
Oh
I
my
think
goodness.
some would say we're still in the thick of it,
Hmm.
But we live in a small town in Oklahoma, and I love it. I love that we can get away from the people. We can get away from just like the world. We have
Hmm.
cows, and
I love
I'm
it.
finding joy in just the most simple things, like my husband will go and check on the cows and feed the cows, and we'll just go with him, and we'll
Yeah.
just walk around, find sticks and
Right.
flowers, and my kids will pick flowers for me, and we'll just sit and we'll have, like, the other day we had a picnic with like we picked up some tacos, and we just like had a picnic with tacos and outside, and just like those
Yeah.
simple moments. We've talked about this, but I have a cut flower garden that I absolutely love. I love my daughter, she's 4.5. She loves cutting the flowers. And so like she'll cut the flowers for me. And then we'll arrange them into a vase and gift them to a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Just like simple moments with my kids and my husband. I just am loving those, and those bring me a lot of joy. And, going back to boundaries, I have a really hard stop, once like my husband comes home, like I start making dinner, and then we just
Mm-hmm.
have family time. We try to put our phones away
Yep.
and just focus on our family until the kids go to bed. And I'm just really enjoying this season. And also my 7-year-old, like he's just, I mean, like he's getting his own little personality, and he's so
Mm-hmm.
inquisitive, funny little dude. And my 4.5-year
Right.
old just started pregnant, and she's learning all kinds of things. And so we're just raising these tiny little humans that have these minds of their own, and it's just fun.
It is so good. Motherhood, it's just, to see the world through your kids' eyes and to see how exciting a stick is and like how excited they are to deliver those flowers. And like, doesn't it bring you so into that present moment? And you're like, man, this is the good stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Like these are like, yeah, like these are the days, and
These are
I
the
don't want
days.
them to pass by. And um it yeah, it's good. It's fun. So it's really just the simple moments that I'm loving right now. Like my kids love to help me in the kitchen, so like if we're making
Yeah.
cookies, like I'll put the mixing bowl on the floor and just let them go to town. And
Love
flour
it.
gets all over the floor. That's what a cordless vacuum's for.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Right. It is
Like they're
just,
they're having fun, and they're experiencing life, and they're curious, and just giving them those experiences too, I think is really special as a mom.
I love that. One of my other journal prompts is I love to either every evening or every morning I start with writing down like what are my glimmer moments. So it's like, it
Oh,
isn't just like these big gratitude moments. Those get written down too. Like, it's I kind of do like gratitude slash glimmers. But it
yes,
is
no,
like
I love
the
I'm writing that down. I like glimmer.
yeah, because it's those moments where like, someone's like threw flour at the other person and you could freak out and be like, oh my God, the mess. But you're like, everyone was giggling and it was so good. And that was just like this little moment. And you hold on to those and they add up. And, even in the hard times, there's still so much glimmer.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's so true. And creating memories for your kids too. Like
Hmm.
both in the phase of life, like we're creating memories for our kids.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
I love that. And that is just like, that's such a full circle moment, especially to your sparkly, bright, beautiful brand that you are creating and sharing that happiness and that joy with others. Well, this has just been an absolute pleasure. Truly. I loved
So
working
good.
with you in previous life, but I love that we actually get to chat. And I'm literally going to have you teach me how to do a cutting garden, and you just wait for your crown to come in the mail. This has just been
Oh
an
my
absolute
gosh.
joy.
I will I'm an amateur gardener, but I will tell you all I know.
Yes, please, because you're one status above mine because I'm not a gardener, but I want to be, and I love flowers, and I can't wait. My dream has always been to have a cutting garden, so you're going to teach me just how to do it. I cannot
Gosh,
wait.
it's the amount of joy. And it's a fun way to worship God, because like I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, dirt, seed, sunshine, and water creates
Hmm.
these beautiful flowers, and how, just the most vibrant colors, and and they're just simple flowers, but like nothing's too little for God for us to enjoy, like he wants us to
Yeah.
even enjoy the little. And I think that's beautiful. And I love to like look at the colors. And I mean, I'm endlessly inspired by color. And so of course, like I'm out there sometimes with my Pantone swatch book, matching colors, flowers, and you know So some of my designs are inspired by nature, just because the colors are vibrant. So
I love that. What a great example of how it all just blends together in this beautiful, messy, amazing, sparkly life. Well, if
yep.
people want to get your products, if they want to see the behind the scenes of your business, how do we find you? How do we follow you? Where can we buy? Give us all the scoop because we want to support you on this amazing journey.
Oh, yes, of course. So you can follow us on social media. Our Instagram handle is Taylor Elliott Designs. And we have our website is taylorelliottdesigns.com. And like I mentioned earlier, we have a store locator so you can enter your zip code and find a store near you. If we don't have a store near you, I would love for you to support us online to buy a gift for your loved
Yep.
ones. We're always coming out with new products. And so any support, whether it's an order or whether it's just, a like or a follow, we're grateful for any of it. And yeah, I'm so honored to be here with you today. And this conversation, I feel like was so good.
I loved every single second of it. As I mentioned, you were literally my life coach and my business coach, and I just came here to support you. But I have really gotten so many gifts out of this today. So, your spirit and your energy and your love for what you do and for your life and your family and your vulnerability has just been a gift to everyone listening. So, I just truly thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you
Thank you.
guys, everybody, give her a like, give her a follow. And honestly, her gifts are my absolute her products are my favorite to like stockpile because they are the perfect gift for if you're popping over to a friend's house or you just want to cheer somebody up. I mean, like those little moments where a gift just makes such a difference in someone's life. I literally have a ton of your stuff I have like a gift kind of cupboard closet.
Me too.
And it is right. And mine is full of your goodies. So I recommend that to everyone because it is a sprinkle of joy for anyone who might need it. So definitely go check it all out. All right, you
Joy
guys.
product.
Yeah, Joy Products. Yes. All right, you guys, this has been amazing. Please share this with anyone who might be considering running a small business, who needs to have the conversation about mental health, or who just wants to feel all the women supporting women and think about your worth. And there's so many amazing nuggets in here. But the more we share, the more we can help others. And that is what we are here to do. We're here to serve the female community. Taylor, you're a dream. Thank you again. And thanks everyone for listening. We'll catch you next time. Well, that's the end of this episode, but promise me, you won't stop here with whatever it is you're feeling or dreaming about. I hope you leave today feeling empowered to live life just as you see fit. If this podcast was helpful to you, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on. I genuinely just want to help women live the life they dream about. So if this type of content tracks with you, subscribe to this podcast or visit our website, writeyourownsstory.co, to download digital courses or to grab a journal and a mug to just dream in and dream with. It's your life, lady. Do you? And just remember, I'm rooting for you and you've totally got this.